The Dangers in My Heart is one of the best romance anime I've ever seen. In its essence, it's just like any other basic anime rom-com. I can't really say this anime is innovative or that it has done something that was never done before. Quite on the contrary, it's the same overplayed dynamic of a popular girl falling in love with an unpopular guy, and it has most, if not all, the cliches you would expect from an anime of this genre. But I would say it's better than most, precisely because it uses those overplayed character dynamics and cliches in a way that moves the anime forward. Everything works together to develop the main characters and the relationship between them, the main characters being Yamada and Ichikawa. The Dangers in My Heart isn't just some simple rom-com that needs to dumb down its story in order to play any and every cliche familiar to the genre. It's an anime about maturing, understanding one's feelings, and falling in love. A story about the daily lives of Ichikawa and Yamada, classmates who coincidentally meet at the library. Ichikawa is the stereotypical loner. He spends hours at the library reading books about famous murders, and he tends to fantasize about murdering his classmates, especially Yamada, who just so happens to be the most popular girl at school. Why he wants to kill Yamada is because she's the polar opposite of him, and seems to have everything he lacks. Yamada is a carefree airhead, living her best life with a bunch of friends, and is only interested in eating snacks. These traits of Ichikawa being a bit quirky and Yamada being an airhead are played to the limits of believability, like Ichikawa being socially awkward to a point where he has to stutter through every sentence. But despite of what we learn about Ichikawa at the beginning, it turns out he is actually really observant and cares for the people around him. And during the random encounters he has with Yamada, she starts interacting with him more and more, and starts noticing his kind-heartedness. But despite having a mature side, Ichikawa is still just an insecure kid. As a child unable to process his emotions, he decides to protect himself by becoming the loner we get to know, and it is Yamada who slowly gives him courage to try to get out of his shell. This unlikely duo is one of, if not the best rom-com lead duo I've ever seen in anime. Their chemistry is just impeccable, from the slight teasing to the more meaningful moments. It's beautiful to see Yamada slowly pull Ichikawa out from the darkness he has surrounded himself with, and even though he always seems to fall back into the same headspace, it's undeniable that thanks to Yamada, as the catalyst to his slow transformation, he is able to develop into a more well-rounded character. Their relationship is quite believable, especially because they take their time with it. It's at least way more realistic than the love at first sight we see in other rom-com anime. Yamada and Ichikawa are kids in middle school that value the smallest things, and their actions convey that. The feelings they have for each other are confusing to them, and so they take their time developing this relationship. They don't rush things because they care for each other in their own unique way. And the visuals reflect the relationship as well. Not just in the opening, but in the whole anime as well. Ichikawa is often in the shadows, while Yamada is always shined upon by light. And maybe I'm reading too deep into this, but I think this contrast is a great visual representation of the relationship between those two. Especially considering that as the anime progresses, Ichikawa seems to be out of the shadows more and more often. This show is undeniably great in nearly every aspect. The only problem for people might be how slow the story progresses. While in other anime, the couple is formed sometime during the 12 episodes, this is not the case here. This anime takes as much time as it needs to establish a believable relationship between two incredibly written characters. Their relationship progresses slowly and subtly, with every interaction they have strengthening this relationship. But even though it takes its time, every one of those little interactions feels meaningful and is in no way dragged out. And in the end, as it leaves you with the feeling of butterflies in your stomach, you feel happy with what you've got out of this anime. And that's all for today. Please like, and see you next time.